Mueller's Russia investigation. I want to bring in John Bussey from the Wall Street Journal. John, good afternoon.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
See you.
I want to
Pleasure.
ask you first about this breaking news we're getting, which is that Mueller's team has removed a top senior FBI agent over what appear to be anti-Trump texts that he sent to colleagues. What do you read into that?
He apparently sent some anti-Trump texts to colleagues, and Mueller doesn't want to have that influencing his investigation. I mean, that's the best that we can judge, just like you, from what he's doing. He wants to have people remaining impartial and investigating what Mueller wants to come to a conclusion about. Was there collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia? Inappropriate collusion? And was there subsequent obstruction of justice as the FBI began to investigate that issue and others concerning the Trump campaign?
And President Trump himself, again this morning, insisted that there was no collusion and no collusion has been proven. But we also know that his first national security advisor, General Michael Flynn, has pleaded guilty and struck a deal with Mueller's team. Specifically, Flynn has pleaded guilty to lying under oath to the FBI. What did he lie about? Can you get into the details there, because they're pretty important?
Yeah, that's right. Well, he lied about what he talked with the Russian ambassador about. He talked with him about sanctions. He had said that he had not talked to him about the sanctions. And so the FBI caught him in a lie. But remember also, you know, when you think about what President Trump has said about this investigation in the past, he has said many things about it, many of which have been proven false, particularly about contact between various individuals and Russian diplomats or individuals that were associated with Russia. So it's not surprising that the president said what he said this morning. And Garrick, your correspondent, I think had it right on the mark. We don't know what we don't know yet. This is an investigation that's ongoing. And very importantly, the signals that are being sent by Mueller here, where he has cut a deal with Flynn. Flynn could have been, presumably, if all the charges against Flynn that Mueller had at his disposal had been brought to bear, a prison sentence of substantial years might have been in the offing for General Flynn if he had been found guilty. But instead, a much lighter possible sentence has been presented him, and only one charge was brought against him, which he pled guilty to, which means that a deal was struck, and Mueller must feel that he's going to get something as a result of that deal being struck. We just don't know what it is yet.
Okay, and the White House also, with their official response that came yesterday from Ty Cobb, said, we can pull that up on the screen here so viewers can see it. Ty Cobb said, this plea does not implicate anyone other than Flynn himself, essentially saying the buck stops there. But at the same time, we're also hearing that Jared Kushner is tied into the guilty plea from Flynn because he was somebody that instructed him to reach out to the Israelis during the transition. So is that fair of the White House to say there is nothing in this that implicates anyone other than General Flynn, or are they right?
Well, Ty Cobb is the president's lawyer, so you would expect him to do his job and to diminish what's happening as much as he possibly can. I mean, Ty Cobb also said General Flynn was a former Obama administration official, which he was, but he was removed.
Until he was fired. He was.
Exactly. He was removed by President Obama from his position. And President Trump was warned by the Obama administration about General Flynn and encouraged not to give him a senior post. So Ty Cobb is doing what he's hired to do, and he's being a lawyer for the president. It appears, and we are reporting on WSJ.com, that Jared Kushner was one of the campaign officials with whom General Flynn discussed his conversations with the Russian ambassador. The implications of that, we don't know yet. I mean, when you say tied into the guilty plea, he's not really tied in to any guilty plea. No charges have been brought against Mr. Kushner.
He's somebody that allegedly, according to reporting, Michael Flynn said instructed him to be reaching out to other foreign governments. So in that sense,
that is correct. That's right. And that's right.
Yeah,
exactly. And we're reporting that as well.
Yeah.
Which is important. As you're pointing out, what this basically does is it brings the investigation ever closer to President Trump. It's significant. if his son-in-law was somebody who was in these discussions with General Flynn.
So, John, we've got to leave it there, unfortunately. The White House has been insisting up until recently that this is all wrapping up very soon. The signs we're seeing this week, safe to say, we're now maybe not heading in that direction as rapidly as we once were, unfortunately. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
A major announcement expected in the Hillary Clinton email investigation on Capitol Hill next week.
Our next guest is someone who might have had a hand in putting these new revelations forward. Joining us now, Florida Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz. First, Congressman, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving and happy Black Friday to you.
Of course.
Now, tell us, you are possibly headed towards some sort of announcement about the Clinton email scandal. We have talked extensively about it. Others in the media perhaps less inclined to, but we wanted to bring you on. What can you tell us?
Well, we now have evidence that the FBI's investigation of Hillary Clinton did not follow normal and standard procedures. The current deputy director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, sent emails just weeks before the presidential election saying that the Hillary Clinton investigation would be special, that it would be handled by a small team at headquarters, that it would be given special status. Combine that with the fact that Attorney General Loretta Lynch told James Comey to call this a matter and not an investigation, that she met with Bill Clinton on the tarmac, and that James Comey himself has admitted in testimony that he drafted the exoneration statement of Hillary Clinton before even interviewing her or other key witnesses. We seem to have a departure from the normal application of the law, and we will be calling for a full review by the Judiciary Committee of the process and procedures that potentially gave Hillary Clinton a different process and a different standard of justice than would be applied to any other American.
Congressman, the email you're referring to, we're going to put it up on our screen right now, is from October 23rd, 2016, as you mentioned, just weeks before that election. Recently revealed through investigation. This is what it reads. It says, the decision was made to investigate it at HQ, meaning the Hillary Clinton matter, with a small team. WFO provided some personnel for the effort, but it was referred to as a special, and I was not given any details about it. So when you talk about a full Judicial Committee investigation review of this matter, what new things do you expect to find? And as far as this big announcement, can you give us any more information about that?
Well, we're going to have Christopher Wray, the new director of the FBI, come before the Judiciary Committee, and we need to have a full investigation. I believe there are others on the Judiciary Committee who are deeply troubled by the thought that Hillary Clinton would be given this special status in an investigation of potentially the mishandling of classified information. And, you've got time and again circumstances where the FBI's procedures seem to have been influenced by Loretta Lynch, either by telling James Comey to call this a matter and not an investigation, or by simply constraining the review of the facts to a very small team. So I suspect that in the coming weeks, you will see the Judiciary Committee really look into whether or not we've got to have checks and balances at the FBI so that special people don't get special status. And if we didn't have a real robust investigation of Hillary Clinton, that's a real problem because it's an erosion of the rule of law.
Congressman, we've got to let it go right there. We'll find out whether former Director James Comey was telling the truth when he said that the Clinton investigation was handled in an apolitical and entirely routine manner. It sounds like you feel differently. Thank you very much for joining us today, sir.
Congressman Gaetz, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Virtue. You work for a blindfolded woman holding a set of scales, and that is what makes our culture different. How do you restore people's trust, Republicans and Democrats, confidence in a Department of Justice when it seems like different rules apply depending on who's in power?
Mr. Comey talked more than he should, and he had no power, right, or justification in announcing the conclusion of a criminal investigation.
You won't see this on CNN. The Justice Department has reopened the investigation of Hillary Clinton's mishandling of classified material on her private email system while she was Secretary of State, and is considering offering her a plea bargain if she will agree to plead guilty to charges of breaking the law, according to a Clinton attorney. The discussion of a plea bargain took place late last month and was offered by a high-ranking Justice Department official to the Clinton lawyer. During the exploratory talks with the prosecutor, the Clinton attorney was told that despite former FBI Director James Comey's decision last July not to prosecute Hillary, the Justice Department has re-examined the email case and believes there are ample grounds for prosecuting Hillary on a number of counts. Under the Justice Department's plea offer, Hillary will be required to sign a document admitting that she committed a prosecutable crime. In return, the DOJ would agree not to bring charges against Hillary in connection with the ML probe. Also, as part of the agreement, the Justice Department would not proceed with an investigation of Hillary's pay-to-play deals with foreign governments and businessmen who contributed to the Clinton Foundation or who paid Bill Clinton exorbitant speaking fees. The Clinton attorney cautioned that normally a plea is offered by a prosecutor only upon arraignment, and Hillary has not yet been charged with any crime.